At exactly 11:47 p.m., someone knocked on the door of Mark Holloway's small rental house. It wasn't a polite knock. It was frantic, uneven, desperate. Mark froze in the hallway, one hand instinctively reaching for the light switch, the other tightening around the edge of the doorframe. In the next room, his 6-year-old daughter Lily slept, her soft breathing the only steady sound in the house. No one ever came this late. Mark had learned, since becoming a single dad, that late-night knocks usually carried trouble. Bills, bad news, or people who wanted something you couldn't afford to give. The knock came again, louder this time, followed by a shaky voice. "Please, I just need somewhere to stay for the night." Mark peered through the peephole. A woman stood on his porch, soaked from the cold rain, her hair plastered to her face. She couldn't have been older than 25. No bag, no phone in her hands. Her eyes darted over her shoulder like she was afraid someone might be watching. Every instinct screamed, "Don't open the door." Mark had too much to lose. But then he heard Lily cough in her sleep, and something inside him shifted. He remembered all the nights after his wife passed, when loneliness felt heavier than fear. When he wished, just once, that someone would knock and remind him he wasn't invisible. He unlocked the door. "Just for one night," he said cautiously. "That's all." The woman nodded so fast it looked like she might cry. "Thank you. I swear, I won't cause any trouble." Mark handed her a towel and motioned her inside, locking the door behind them. The warmth of the house seemed to surprise her. She stood there for a moment, like she didn't trust it to be real. "My name's Mark," he said quietly. "My daughter's asleep. We'll keep things calm." "I understand," she replied. "I'm Anna." He showed her the couch, brought her a blanket, and poured a cup of tea the way his late wife used to. Too much honey, not enough patience. Anna's hands trembled as she wrapped them around the mug. "You running from something?" Mark asked gently. She hesitated, then nodded. "From someone." Mark didn't press. He knew what it felt like when words hurt more than silence. That night, he barely slept. Every creak of the house put him on edge. He checked the locks twice. Then 3 times. He stood outside Lily's room longer than usual, watching her chest rise and fall. He wondered if he'd made a mistake. Morning came quietly. Sunlight spilled through the thin curtains, and the smell of toast filled the kitchen. Anna stood at the counter, stiff and apologetic. "I can leave now," she said quickly. "I didn't mean to overstay." Mark shook his head. "Have breakfast first." Lily padded into the room in mismatched socks and immediately stopped when she saw Anna. "Daddy," she whispered. Anna crouched down to Lily's height. "Hi, I'm Anna." Lily studied her face carefully, then smiled. "You look sad. Do you want some cereal?" Something broke open in Anna's expression. Over breakfast, small pieces of truth surfaced. Anna had been bouncing between shelters. She'd left an abusive relationship months earlier, only to find that freedom came with its own kind of danger. The man hadn't stopped looking for her. "I didn't know where else to go," she admitted, staring at the table. "Your house had the light on. It felt safe." Mark felt a quiet weight settle on his chest. He saw himself in her fear, in her exhaustion, in the way she apologized for existing. "You can stay today," he said finally. "Figure out your next step." Anna's eyes filled with tears. "I won't forget this." Neither of them knew that someone else already hadn't. That afternoon, Mark noticed a car parked across the street. Dark, idling. It hadn't been there before. By evening, it was still there. Mark's stomach tightened. Anna saw it too, her face drained of color. "That's him," she whispered. "I didn't think he'd find me this fast." Before Mark could respond, there was another knock on the door. This one wasn't desperate, it was confident. Mark positioned himself between the door and Lily's room. When he opened it, a man stood there with a forced smile and cold eyes. "I'm looking for my girlfriend," the man said. "She might be here." Mark didn't hesitate. "No one like that lives here." The man's smile faded. "Mind if I check?" Mark stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. "You need to leave." The man's eyes flicked past Mark, scanning the interior. "You don't know who you're protecting." Mark thought of Lily, of Anna shaking with fear, of all the times he'd wished someone had protected his family when his wife was still alive. "I know exactly what I'm doing," Mark said. The man laughed softly. "You're making a mistake. Get off my property," Mark replied. "Now." The man lingered for a long moment, then turned and walked back to his car. Mark didn't sleep at all that night. He called the police, filed a report, reached out to a local women's support center he'd found through a late-night search. The next morning, a social worker arrived. They spoke with Anna privately. There were resources, safe housing, legal steps. Anna hugged Mark before she left, holding on like she might fall apart if she let go. "You didn't just open your door," she said through tears. "You saved me." Mark watched her go, unsure if he'd ever see her again. Life slowly returned to its quiet rhythm. Weeks passed. Then one afternoon, Mark received a letter. Inside was a handwritten note and a photo. Anna stood smiling in front of a small apartment, her eyes brighter, steadier. The note was simple. "Because of you, I'm safe. Because of you, I believe kindness still exists." At the bottom was a postscript. "By the way, I never told you. I'm a junior prosecutor. I was hiding because the man you protected me from is now in custody. And because you stood your ground, others are safe too." Mark sat down, the weight of realization washing over him. He hadn't just helped a stranger. He'd helped stop something bigger than he'd ever known. That night, as he tucked Lily into bed, she asked, "Daddy, remember the lady who stayed with us?" He nodded. "She looked happier in the picture," Lily said. Mark smiled. "That's because someone helped her when she needed it." Lily yawned. "I'm glad you opened the door." So was he. Because sometimes, one night of kindness can change more than one life. Sometimes, protecting a stranger means protecting hope.